Hello and welcome to the Green Profit Academy Pros podcast. This show digs into the challenges in growing a lawn care and landscape business while maximizing your profit. I'm Christeen.
And I'm Steve Bousquet. We are the green industry experts in profit, growth, and leadership.
So I want to thank you and welcome you for joining us today. And every month we have our free webinar series from Green Profit Academy. And we have invited a professional associate of ours who is very knowledgeable in the area of making your business into an asset. And she is going to present today on her Cash In on Your Business and share some insightful perspectives, some strategies, and let you know what's possible. So I want to welcome Linda Stapf. So thank you for joining us today, Linda.
Thank you, Christeen and Steve, for inviting me. I am really happy to be doing this. It's a passion project of mine. What I'd like to share a little bit before I get started too far is just some of my background and my story. The first business exit that I was part of was when my father's business disappeared when he died, and I was 16. That probably was it was a big marker for me and how fragile a business can be if you don't do some of the things that you have to do to take care of it. He was only 34 and he wasn't thinking about not being there. So he had no thoughts of any of those planning things that we do now, insurance, powers of attorney, any of those things. And it just fell apart. For me, being able to help other business owners protect their families is a strong drive that I just want to be able to do. And it led me to get licensed to do investments at an early age. I've been doing investments for 30 years with business owners because I would send them to the bank and the bank would give them the wrong thing. You know, back when it was an IRA, they wouldn't give them the right thing. And I'm seeing it still, even to this day, where I'm working with people who've gone and done things and they don't work. And we have problems that we have to sort out. So being able to know all the areas as their tax and financial advisor feels like a magic potion for me. Just being able to kind of put all the parts together and kind of move it forward. So that is my background, and it's why I'm in this arena. Cashing in on your business. So credentials, my name's Linda Stapf. I am a CPA. I'm an investment advisor, like I've said, since like 96. And I've gone through a lot of other things to help people improve their businesses. Profit First, Business Made Simple, we also use that. So cashing in on your business, it's an important thing to look at your business as an asset and as an investment, and for you to be a shareholder in that business, not just the employee, and look at it as something that returns money to you and enhances your life and your lifestyle. When you cash in on your business, you can do all of these things. You can build financial security, you can pay off debts, you can make your business sellable so it's a really nice asset for retirement or just a nice asset to live with. You can pay off your mortgage. You can use the proceeds to send your kids to college. There are many different ways to cash in on your business, and I've listed a few of these here. Getting the money by selling your business, you can scale it so that you can grow and not be as involved in it. You can streamline and make it smaller so it's easier to manage. And you can also work around stepping out of daily operations. All of those things position your business as a bigger asset on your net worth statement. And I say net worth because for me, that's a good barometer of where you are, how much you have as personal assets, as opposed to just looking at the business and the personal separately. So we put those two together and we create a net worth statement, and that's an important part of measuring your progress. And when we're going to start, we want to decide which one of those paths feels like the right path for us, because we need to choose which way we're going. Are we gearing ourselves up to sell? Are we gearing ourselves up to step out of the business? What exactly are we setting as our initial goal? And to do that, we also need to look at some of these things, income needs. What does your business actually pay for? And a lot of times this is buried in your records and it takes some digging to get it all out of there. So your business typically pays for more than payroll. You probably have a company car, you have benefits, you have insurance, you have travel and meals, you have phone reimbursement, you have taxes that it's helping you pay. So there are lots of things that are kind of going along with this. And it may even provide for you satisfaction because you're creating something in life and you're building. So it's your purpose. Your business is your purpose. So if we're going to step out of the business, we need to replace that too. So if we've looked at that number for our income and added it up, we can take that income, divide it by 5, and get a rough idea of the capital that we need to support that income base. We can lower that by having alternate sources of cash flow. So maybe we don't need as much cash if we have other things like rental properties that are kicking in, but we can pull all these things together to kind of create our ultimate cash flow. And as we're rolling down this road and picking paths, we typically choose one to focus on as opposed to trying to do all 4 of them at the same time. So if you've got a lot of debt, we're going to look at trying to get rid of that or refinance that or pay off your personal debt. If you've got no investments outside the business, we're going to look at trying to get those investments beefed up so that you've got stability outside your business that will help you take risks inside your business. And maybe all of those things are right, but we're looking at selling your business. So we're looking at optimizing the business value. And maybe you want to do it yourself, but maybe you don't. And there are really good reasons not to try to do all of this yourself. Christeen and I were talking just before we came on about just problems that clients have because they don't know the rules and the people that they've chosen to support them don't have all the pieces. And they set things up that have tax problems, have growth problems, and just all kinds of problems. So if I'm looking at paying off debts, these are the things that I would look at from a strategy standpoint. I want your personal debt gone first. And I know as business owners, we always like to free up the business and not ourselves. And if I think back to my dad's story, he used all of the personal assets and leveraged them to grow the business. So by doing that, you really leave nothing if something happens because it all falls apart. But if we can get your personal debt paid first, then we have a really strong business owner who can afford to take risks in his business and grow it. So paying off debts in the past, I've used bonus paychecks and profit distributions to pay off personal debts, like paying off a mortgage or making sure that you stay out of debt by making sure you have enough money to not go back into debt. I'd like to see you with an emergency fund of 1 month of expenses with a goal of 3 months. That makes it easier for you not to rely on the business as your piggy bank. I'm running short this month. I need to go get money and I take it out of the business. Well, the business was planning on using that to buy material for next month or to cover payroll. So now you've got 2 financial problems that you're trying to juggle and deal with. But if I can make you a stronger business owner financially, then we don't have to do that. We can just cover our expenses from our income. A lot of people have not looked at creating an employer retirement plan. And when we're looking at creating this employer retirement plan, there are lots of variables that go into choosing the right one for you. Some of those variables are listed here. If your business does not have consistent profit, then we've got problems if we've got something that has to be done every year. So if I have variable income, I'm looking at different kinds of plans. If I'm looking at trying to beef up your retirement goals, exactly how much are you going to be able to put aside for that? If you're only going to be able to do like a $20,000 a year number, then we look at different plans than if you can do larger amounts and want to really beef up your retirement. And do you have employees you want to cover? So we're looking at those. This becomes an employee benefit. It becomes something that employees are happy to have, and it helps you hire better employees. And you have more stable employees if they're tied into your retirement plan. The other option was to get sellable. If we're going to get sellable, what do you need to focus on? And you probably know where the hairy mess is in your business. You live in it every day. You know exactly where the problems are. Do you have trucks that you need to fix all the time? Do you have no systems and the employees kind of just do whatever they want? What do you need to put in your business to make it more sellable? So all of these things, how can you prep it for sale or simplify your business? And you can simplify your business with a focus on profit. And by that, I mean cutting out some lines. You guys talk about the three-ring circus in business. So you can chop out the lines that don't really add to your bottom line profit and simplify your business and just focus on profit. Getting rid of unused assets, having equipment that you purchased for tax savings that you are not using, can sell those and get rid of the maintenance cost and get rid of those assets and put some money back in your business. This last, how realistic is selling your business? Roughly 75% of all businesses that are listed for sale go unsold. And that's in the marketplace where most of you are living. If I'm looking at a 30 million and up business, I've got a way better chance of getting sold. But if I'm looking at a 5 million down business, I've got about that 75%. If I'm looking at under $1 million, it's even harder. There's just not enough profit there and nobody wants you. A valuable business has clean records, so you're not paying your personal expenses out of your business. It's very clear what the profit is. It's very clear what your products are. You have marketing that produces predictable sales. You have a leadership team that runs your business effectively, so it's not dependent on you as the business owner. You have systems, strategic planning, and no legal issues. If we can get your business sellable, it really becomes a better to run business for you. And when I look at those businesses, sometimes it's best just to get sellable and let the business run for you and keep the money. And you'll see why a couple slides in, but we have profits that go up. We have an easier to run business and employees that want to work for you because they know their job specifically. They know their roles and they're able to do it, and you don't meddle in their business and just let them kind of do their thing. Working with professionals. So this is do you want to do this yourself or do you want to have some help? Tax planning can ensure that there are no unpleasant surprises. Tax strategies to get all the businesses being a business owner, because a lot of these things we just don't take care of, like an accountable plan to make sure that all of your expenses are getting deducted on your tax return. Are you using your car for business? Are you using other things that we need to take advantage of? Do you rent your business, your home to your business to hold an annual meeting? A lot of things that you could do. And it also is somebody who can talk to you about keeping your plan active and focused on your goals and help you work out what those goals are. They do the heavy lifting and they keep you out of trouble. And they will help you know and track your net worth as a measure of your progress so that you know exactly where you are standing at any point in time. If we do all these things, I have business owners who absolutely know where their next dollar is coming from, who have emergency plans in place, who have a retirement plan that works for them and have dealt with some of the issues that come with not planning. This disruptions in the business due to personal cash needs, that goes away. So we're no longer robbing the business when we have something we want, we plan for it. You're investing outside the business, so your dependence on its income is less, and we're able to think about selling that business because it's not providing all of your income. And you're making room to replace yourself in the business as your net worth moves outside of it. So you become less dependent on it. It's that focus to grow, but diversify to protect. So if I spread out your assets outside your business, you've got more to live on. And everything is not dependent on your business like my dad's was. So this is the conversation about if your business is sellable. And we kind of went through this. 80% are not sellable if they have revenue of $1 million or less. 19% if they're between 1 and 100 million. And really, it's the larger businesses that really sell. So it's getting harder to sell businesses. If you've seen the listings, they kind of just sit there and age and age and age. I have one guy who's been trying to sell his business for probably the last 15 years. It's in a dying industry. That's part of the problem. He's got like a little newspaper kind of thing. But it's just, they're not sellable. And if you don't have a sellable business, and even if you do, it just makes sense to create assets outside the business so you don't have to depend on that as your one source of retirement. And you hit the jackpot or you don't. And this is the tax equation that kind of rolls through if you're selling a business for $1 million. Your net $700,000 after tax. So I'm assuming a 30% tax bracket, which could be higher, could be lower, depending on your personal tax bracket. Although this is capital gains, which means you have $700,000 after selling your business to invest. And if that generates a 5% payout to you, you're replacing that with $35,000 income. And you gave up, in all likelihood, a paycheck for $100,000, distributions, and benefits. This doesn't feel like a workable solution to me. I would much rather keep the business and keep all the stuff and try to create a more sellable business that I could walk away from when I wanted to and run it the way I needed to. So all of the things that we've talked about are essentially plan B. We can't sell the business, so let's focus on profit. And let's look at the things that we can squeeze out of it, fund a retirement plan, look at succession planning and disaster prevention. I do have one client who was hospitalized for 2 months with no access to phones. And because she had professionals working with her, someone was able to pick up and run payroll and keep the business going without at least a tiny little piece of a disaster prevention. That could have turned out very badly. And plan B also includes, like we've been talking about, outside investments, real estate, or investment accounts. A lot of times, business owners will buy their property that their business runs out of. So their office location, their warehouse location, their parking lot where they put trucks. And you can buy larger than just what you need and rent out some of the space. That's another source of income. And this is just a graphic that talks about a few things. If we start today, we can absolutely make consistent progress. And I think working with a professional gives you accountability, whether that's your financial advisor, your tax person, or even having those conversations with your spouse and making sure that you're moving forward on the things that you want. If you delay, it will cost more. If you do nothing, you will never get there. So I was listening to a story with an investment advisor who was interviewing somebody who literally funded their entire retirement plan when they were in college. They put $5,000 a year aside for 5 years and they were done. So doing something early and just leaving it alone works. But most of us don't do that. We were looking at this, me personally, I looked at it when I was in my mid-50s and went, I'm a little behind. So I had to push some things. I had to squeeze some things around in the business. I had to focus on where the profit was and start really making conscientious strategic decisions about where I was going to put my time and my effort and where I was going to put my money. And over the course of 5 years, my business doesn't look anything like it did before. And I think you can do it even faster if you're really, really driven. And these small gains, when you look back on what you've done, those tiny little things, just doing a little bit better every single day and every single year, gets you really good results. So it feels like not a lot that you're doing. And it feels like you'll never get there sometimes. I know that felt like that with me. And it sometimes feels like that with clients. But then you look back and you realize, well, we did get somewhere. We have all these assets. So just examples of what clients were able to do over short time frames. This is a client who over 16 years funded a retirement account. And the 462 is the average. These are just the fundings, the contributions in, and she did a SEP. And her bonuses paid off her home. Her tax savings were $13,000, and she was able to retire without a sale. So her net out-of-pocket cost was the $28,000 minus $13,000 in taxes. So with about $15,000 a year over 16 years, she has a paid-for home and a retirement account that will supplement her retirement income from Social Security. And it was not a business that she could sell. That process looked like this. The owner did their normal bookkeeping. We set up an original plan. We did year-end bonuses to pay off her home and sent 25% of her payroll to a SEP plan annually. It literally took 1 or 2 hours a year to just keep this plan rolling, and we repeated it 16 times with an out-of-pocket cost that averaged $15,000 of tax savings. So it's a simple, easy to execute strategy for her, and it worked well. This is the framework that we use. We clarify where you are. We want to know together what your future is going to be like. So does this look like you hiking in the mountains? Are you buying a boat? Do you need a second home? What does retirement look like for you? What other things do you need to fund? And it's not just retirement. It's like, what is in your life that you need to take out, or as in debt, or what is missing in your life? Like, what do you want to add? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to do really cool vacations? Do you want a second home? And then we look at the gap between those two. We look at your resources in both your business world and your personal world. And then we commit to an action. And we rinse and repeat that action and adjust. Financial planning is all about adjusting. And we have levers that will help us adjust. So we could take more time to get to our goal. If I want to be someplace, I want to have that second home in 5 years. If I push it out to 10 years, maybe it's easier to do. Maybe 5 years, when you look at the numbers, really just isn't feasible. Maybe we buy a lot that we can put a camper on. And that's our process. We also use expenses. For me, I had horses. I had 3 of them. And as I'm looking at the expenses and how I was running my life, it didn't make sense to have 3 horses anymore. So getting rid of those horses freed up a huge amount of money that I could actually invest for the future that I wanted. The horses were part of my past, and they needed to just be less. I still enjoy them, but I don't need to fund their lifestyles. We can use levers like income. Do we want to increase your business so that there's more income that comes out to you? And like the scope, that kind of falls in with that. How big do you want it to be? So I had a client who was looking at buying that second home in Montana. And as they're looking at what a house in Montana looks like and how much capital it would take to do that, it was adding years and years to their retirement plan. And it was taking the bulk of what they needed. But if they shift that to just rent a place for a month, that was way more workable. And then they didn't have the maintenance and all the other stuff to do with it because they were only going to spend 8 weeks out there anyway. So if they shortcut it to that, it was much more workable. And they shortcutted their time frame to about 3 years instead of looking out 10 years. So that's what I mean about scope, time, expenses, income. We look at all of those pieces and have discussions about them. And we measure our progress by looking at our annual income, current and future. We measure our wealth outside the business, and we can measure our business value. Because as you go through your year, having a marker for that business value, even if it's an estimate, is an awesome yardstick. And having a measure for your net worth really tells you if you're moving forward or not, instead of just guessing. And this is another client with 3 locations who wanted the strategic support to get those 3 locations up and running. He built a real estate portfolio. We did tax savings. And because we had a lot of things in place, like a retirement plan and the business and the real estate, we were able to survive a divorce where it could have really collapsed the business. If he had to give her part of the business, that would have been miserable. He wouldn't have been able to run the business the way he wanted to, and it would have been a very different situation. But because he had a retirement plan, we could turn that over to her, we could turn cash over to her, and we could set up payments that made it work. He is now traveling and not in the business, so he's also streamlined, and he's left an operations team in place to kind of cover that. And very similar business with a real estate portfolio. Adding real estate really does help. Gives you more flexibility. We looked at tax savings with oil and gas credit programs. We looked at lots of different things for tax savings for them. It survived short-term disability and also grew to 3 locations. She's also traveling. She's selling all of her real estate, though, because she's decided it doesn't fit with what she wants to do anymore. So she's looking at living overseas. I'm going to have to figure out international law for her. These are other success stories, and really it's really just discussion. Having a discussion with somebody who can see your assets and kind of poke at them a little bit and help you see where you want to go. Even if it's not me, if it's your financial advisor or it's your tax person or your spouse or your family or your best friend, truthfully, a lot of things can happen if you start talking about money and your decisions and what you have and what you want out of life. So each one of these gained some insight by going through the program that I did. They're all CPAs, and they all found things in their lives that they could do differently. And, Madison was one of the interesting ones. He believed he would have to work until he died, that there was no retirement plan in sight. And I don't know how many conversations I've had with clients who say that. I'm just going to have to work until I die because I don't see how to make this work. He found a path. And almost anybody can find a path. It is really about just adjusting those levers. How much money? What are you doing? Where are you living? What do you need to spend? And Christy was the one with the Montana home that really shortcutted them from 10 to 3 years. So they chopped 7 years off their time frame to retirement by doing this. And Merle is reallocating her commercial real estate to get more money out of somebody else and not her. So she's positioning her in a different space so that real estate becomes an asset that creates money. So these are all additional stories. If you want to read them, I'm just going to let you pause. I'm not going to read them all because the discussion is really the key, being able to have someone you can talk to about how to do something differently. When we live inside the jar, we cannot see the label on the jar. And having somebody on the outside who has some experience, who's helped other clients through this, is very valuable. So what we've put together is a cash in on your business program where we're going to look at your net worth. We're going to collaborate with other business owners over 6 weeks with guidance and support. And we're going to come out of this with an action plan, some steps to take that will move us forward. This is the QR code for the workshop and the enrollment page. It goes into core. And this is the investment. We've made this really affordable for 6 weeks of coaching and access to a financial advisor and as much help as you need, because truthfully, I want to see you succeed. We've got support options built in there that will help you gain financial clarity, craft your action plan, and improve your personal wealth by strategically integrating it with your business, which is so critical. I don't want to see you make decisions that handicap your business. I don't want to see you make decisions that handicap your personal life. I want them both to go together and for them to flow smoothly into your future.
Core Growth Strategies provides business growth management solutions through cloud accounting, bookkeeping, and strategic business consulting programs. Our team works with small businesses in lawn care and landscape and trade industries throughout the U.S. We increase our clients' business acumen by creating business performance transparency through financials and strategic advisement based on industry best practices and benchmarks. Our experienced team provides support, guidance, and coaching, thereby allowing our clients to connect with viable data and discover their own solutions. Core Growth Strategies programs and services are designed to get your business from where it is now to where you have always dreamed it to be. Visit us today at coregrowthstrategies.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Don't miss our exclusive limited time podcast special. Just mention promo code GPA Pro to any member of our team during your complimentary consultation, or enter the promo code on our site when you sign up for one of our online programs. That's promo code GPA Pro.
Q&A. Any thoughts, challenges, goals, questions that we can deal with?
So if you have any questions, feel free to come off of mute. Some of the things that I just kind of took a couple notes while you're sharing this, and just kind of wanted to share my thoughts, is it doesn't need to take a lot. So I'm seeing that a little funding can go a long way if you have time.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to be the other way around, to where it's going to be little time and lots of funding. So like getting that plan in place. And this is an interesting point, because this comes up a lot in our coaching programs when we're working with people and focusing on goals, is letting things go that was part of the past in order to reach your goals, and, or even old visions, and goals, like letting those goals can allow you to get there faster. And that's something that I see so many business owners hold on to, is they're like, well, I had this vision, but things have changed, but I feel so tethered and obligated to this vision. And what that's really doing, it's not serving them and it's holding them back. So that was something else that I kind of put together from what you've shared, Linda. I feel like every time that you present your strategy, I learn something new. I'm like, oh, okay, here's more opportunity. Here's more opportunity. What are we not thinking? What are we not looking at?
Yeah, I like that, because I was holding on to that. For a while, I thought that I needed a home for my horses. I literally packed up my house. I packed up my whole house and I was going to sell it, and I was going to go buy a farm. And then I started thinking about how far I was going to have to drive from the farm to work. And who was going to come see me at the farm? Are my grandkids going to come up? No, they're not. And it started to sink in that really wasn't what was important anymore. And I just had to go get all my stuff back. I packed my boxes and I shipped them to my sister's house in the basement. She had all my wine, and I had to come get it back and bring it back home. But it was a hard thing to give up. But when you start to realize that by saying yes to that, I was saying no to so many other things that were dramatically more important to me today than those horses were ever going to be again.
Yeah.
I mean, they had their time and it was over, and you just need to move forward and get rid of all the stuff and kind of keep going. And I see that with people. They hold on also to well, my parents did it this way, or my neighbor did it this way. And everybody's retirement is very different. I've worked with lots of people, and nobody's is the same. Some people want to work at Walmart and they had really high-powered jobs, but now they just want to work at something that doesn't tax their strength anymore. They don't want to think about things.
Yeah.
And there are other people that are retired essentially in their 40s because they set their business up the way they needed to set it up, and they are now gone traveling. Totally awesome. I'm not there yet.
Or they're very
behind on that
they're
one.
very little. Yeah.
But it is possible to have your business run for you and be a very sellable asset, but also kick out some awesome cash flow. So you don't have to wait. You can go do the things that you do. Yeah, I love that. And, and if you don't do it, I've had conversations with people who've done nothing and they're just miserable. An electrician who was in my office the other day is closing his business, selling it, and he's done all the wrong things. He kept his employees when he didn't have work for them. He's bought new trucks when he shouldn't have. He didn't set up a real retirement plan, so he doesn't have anything. And he's comparing where he is to where his neighbor is, who worked and had a job and has a 401k worth a couple $1,000,000. He could be that person, but he chose a different path. And now he's figuring it out. I don't want people to be in that place. I want it to be very apparent that you have choices and you can make them and you can live a good life in retirement. Even if you don't have $2 million, you can still live a good life. It might involve changing what that good life looks like and really focusing on what's important to you, but you can do it.
Another confusion that I've heard before is that people, they have this idea of what diversify means, and it's like, oh, we need to retire. We need to set up these options. We're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, or even, if they're an employee, it's their ideas of diversify is either in their 401k or their IRA. They're like, oh, I diversify. I have selected multiple stocks, that it invests in. So I think it would be helpful to talk a little bit more about what does diversify really mean and what are the options to diversify to create that asset and opportunity.
Yeah, diversification to me means many things. And I like having the safety of having real estate in my portfolio. Everybody isn't set up to do that, but I do like my business owners to have real estate because it just helps and they're using that asset anyway. Diversification also means taxable, and tax deferred. So I have 3 different, and tax free. So I have all these different tax qualities I can diversify into. Roth accounts are tax free. Retirement accounts are tax deferred. Non-taxable accounts, which are municipal money that comes in. There's all different ways to diversify with taxes. And if I have that tax diversification, I can pick and choose where your income is every year, and I can pick and choose your tax liability every year. And that is powerful when I'm looking at retirement. And I've got several retirees we're working with trying to wiggle our way through getting more tax-free investments, but we also have health insurance things that we're looking at. And there's also like Social Security is becoming more taxable. So it's all these moving slides that you just have to kind of wiggle your way through to get to the right number. But paying less tax is a wonderful way to make your portfolio last longer. And when you're looking at investment diversification, modern portfolio theory is a Nobel Prize winning theory that we use, and we put different pieces of your account in different stock categories as well as bond categories to diversify the risk. Because if I take 2 things that are very risky but put them in the same basket, I have less risk automatically. It's really bizarre how that works, but they fight against each other. It's almost like how sound cancels out. You have a high-pitched sound and a low-pitched sound, and they get together and they make a smooth song. It's the same thing that happens with stocks that move up and down. Putting them together in a basket and being truly diversified by owning all categories really does smooth out the ride a lot. And diversification is not, I have an Edward Jones broker and I have a Merrill Lynch guy and I have this my do it your own account and I have like this financial advisor over here. No one knows what's going on. They think the money that they have is the only money that you have. And therefore they're protecting their little pie. And when they don't know you have 7 pies, nobody's managing the 7 pies. And nobody's looking at your tax liability because they can't. They don't know about all the pies.
Right. So that's even a higher risk, is creating your investments and your assets in silos.
Mm-hmm. I think it is. I think it's a disservice, which is why I kind of put myself in a position where I could do all the things. And a lot of people like to keep their stuff separate. They like to not have everybody know what they're doing. But there's so much power in having one person who does know and who can pull the strings on all the pieces to put them together to make them all work. And it's not for everybody. I know it's not, but the ones that I can do it for, it's totally awesome.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions or comments that they would like to share?
So, Linda, you talked about, creating a business that can produce cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping your business and making it a machine that can produce cash flow. If you're not into real estate or managing real estate, but you can manage your business where you have a manager that comes into play, that's kind of what you were talking about?
Yeah. I honestly don't think you're serving yourself by selling your business. I think you're cutting off a tremendous asset that could just keep kicking out income if you get it run correctly and you know how to work it. Yeah, I don't want to pay taxes ever. Unfortunately, we have to. When we do things like sell businesses or sell assets, you create a tax liability. And it doesn't serve everyone well. I mean, there are times when, yes, you have to sell it because you just can't run it anymore, whether that's health reasons or like my dad, you're just not there, So, but I think keeping it going and let it kick out money to you, let it kick out benefits is the optimum situation. From my perspective, that feels like the optimum situation to me.
Yeah. I like that. Brian, did you have a question or comment?
No question. I was just listening. Plus, I have my daughter with me. She's chatting up a storm over here. So I think if I start asking questions, she's going to start asking questions.
Oh.
But it was awesome. I mean, I was listening pretty much the whole way through. One quick thing I do have it was like a slide early on. It was like cash flow based on income percentages, I believe.
Cash flow based on income percentages. I don't remember that.
It was
the equation that she shared on like the value of your business or something like that.
Yeah. I was trying to get clarity, like what, if that was like what you would need the business to be doing in order to get from it, or I saw like very briefly.
Income divided by 5%. Was it that slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's essentially 5% is a number that financial advisors use a lot. Where if I have a pile of money, I can pull 5% out of it, and that's my income. A business is going to do better than 5%. I mean, it just is. It's a higher risk asset. So it should be doing better than 5% for you between that income as an owner and your payroll and any other benefits you get out of the business. So you should be doing more than 5%. That number is really about, I've invested the assets over here. And if I want them never to run out, and I just pull 5% off of that pile of money for the rest of my life, and I will leave things to my kids. So that's what that number really is. It's not really about what your business doesn't have to be worth that much to kick out 5% income. That's
okay.
Yeah. And that ties back to that profit first methodology of like 35% of the of the overall percentage in Profit First should serve the owner. So we're looking at owner's compensation, we're looking at tax, and we're looking at profit. So looking at that opportunity of just like, oh, here's an investment that's going to kick me back 5%. If you build your business as an asset, that 35% is like, I would take that all day over 5%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the other side where we've sold it for $1 million and now we're looking at what we're giving up. So we're investing the net, we're investing 700,000 in that case because we have to pay tax instead of getting the business running better and just keeping the cash, that 35% that's yours, which is a much bigger number on $1 million. That's 350.
Yeah.
Compared to, yeah. To me, it's a no-brainer. Keep your business, make it better, keep going, but also diversify so that you've got investments outside the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is an area why I wanted to bring Linda on and introduce people to her program, because Steve and I have talked to Linda so many times in our business groups. And I think this concept is so valuable. We work with businesses to be more profitable, to streamline, build that leadership concept into it, all those things. We want the business to be highly profitable, but then what do you do with it? And that's where I think Linda's program is so valuable, as we learn what can we do with that money? What is the opportunity? And how can we create the best outcome, once we start getting our numbers dialed in and really that profit first implemented and leveraging that profit that can come out of our business. What does my future look like? How can all the pieces on the board support me in moving forward?
Yeah.
Right.
Build a dream list, a bucket list, and start working on checking those things off and really deciding if you want them.
Right.
That was like my horse conversation. Don't really want them anymore.
Yeah.
I do still enjoy them, but I don't want to spend the money on them. So I'm allocating it differently. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Steve, do you have a question? You look like you.
Oh, I have so many questions about this. This is one of my favorite topics. Well, the first time I heard it, I was sitting there and you had us fill out a card with the exercise. And it was very interesting because I was in a lot better position than I thought I was, but it's very not focused. So, my goal this year is to bring it into focus. Because, I joked about my diversification, and I'm the guy that has an account with Merrill Lynch, an account with eToro, an account with Robinhood. It's not really diversified, but, really bringing that together to make more sense about it.
Yeah.
But also looking at my business, it also made me really, I was just talking to Chris Bishop, who everybody knows, and I was like, thank God that you have focus as your number 5 strength, because it keeps me reined in. Because, the parts of my business that are the most profitable, sustainable, and systemized, it's the simplest parts. It's the rinse and repeat, renew. The customers has the highest renewal. It's the most systematic part of the business. And it also produces the most cash. So, it's a great model to focus, keep your focus, systemize it, identify what's going to make you the most cash without that a manager can go manage. So, since the first time I heard your talk, it really has got me to think of many different things.
Yeah. As business owners, we do like complications and we like to keep them complicated. New things all the time, but all that complication, new things, they don't add profit to our business. And we really need to focus on just adding profit. I made a decision about 2 years ago that my diversification, my exploration was going to be outside of the business, which is why I did Costa Rica for a month this year. I'm like, personal stuff, I'm going to explore. I'm going to let the business be simple and not create things that only Linda can do in the business. So that's my goal, is to do the exploring and the adventure seeking outside the business. Yeah. It's also why we're driving across the United States right now to go see redwood trees. It keeps me out of the business,
Yeah.
makes it easier to run. Yep.
Well, I'm excited for this program. I know it's going to increase my awareness of like what to focus on and how to diversify. And I'm glad I hadn't done it in the past. I'm glad I'm doing it now so I can have a longer runway and see what that looks like. Even though I've made like a ton of changes over the years of, changing like the business structure, changing, the focus, all those things. I know this is going to be like that next level that's going to help me understand like how do we best prepare? What do we do with our profit? What are our options? And again, like that path of, what does it look like for me? Like when is done, or how long can I do this and how can it support my lifestyle? Because I don't know if I'm ever going to be one of those people who can retire. Like I just can't keep myself out of strategic planning and business. And my life would be miserable.
It would, wouldn't it? You'd be rearranging the local grocery store somehow and doing something else really weird. I think one of the things that does come out of doing something like this is clarity. Like, how far are you? And oftentimes people are further along than they think. They just won't put it together. They don't want to look at it, pick it up, poke at it, see where its holes are, and I think that's a big piece of it. There are all these things that they can't do that they think they can't do because they just haven't funded it yet. But when you start looking at all the things they want to do, you can fit some of them in. You can change the way they look and you can start doing some of the things now. Like for me, that was travel. Like I didn't think travel was going to be something I could do until later, but I found ways to fit it in. So it's there and it's going to stay there. And I'd rather travel when I'm able to travel as opposed to when I have my walker.
Right.
Don't want to be doing it then. I want to be home.
Yeah. We don't want to be old and rickety trying to enjoy, all the fortune that we've created and the good fortune we've created in our life.
Wait too long, and with my history, with my dad dying at a very young age, other family members dying at young ages, there's no guarantee that we have the time that we think we have to do the things that are important for us. And we need to take care of some of those now. Yeah. And go ahead and live life and not wait until we're like 70 to start spending our money. Not doing that. So
excellent. All right. I'm going to do one last. Any other questions anybody has? No? Okay. Well, I've shared the link in chat and the code, which is Cash In 2024. I think this is a really great offer. I'm so excited to go through this program in July. It starts mid-July. So July 16th is the first date of the 6-week workshop. There'll be support calls in between. So I hope those listening will join us. I know Steve and I will be involved in it. And I know some other people have been looking forward to this program coming out. So I'm super excited about it.
I'm excited too. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And we will send out this recording. If you signed up for the workshop, you will get a recording and we'll also share the links and the code for you.
Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Steve.
Great. Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Green Profit Academy Pros Podcast,
the show that digs into the challenges of growing a lawn care and landscape business while maximizing your profit.